Wonderful. All right, I will call to order the Sanborn Regional School District's Finance and Facilities Committee meeting. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have any action on the October minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
Wonderful. All right. Any discussion? No?
No.
All those in favor? All right, unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. And on to new business. Turn to you, Matt.
Alrighty, so just some financial updates. Inflation hasn't changed really in the last month or so. It's still running about 3.4%. I linked in all encumbrances from July 1st through October 30th, so you're welcome to look over that massively long list, and if you have any questions, let me know. The district's cash balance as of the end of September was $4,347,281.52. With respect to the trust fund balances, first four had some balances increased slightly due to interest. The special education expendable trust is up to $366,233.38. Capital improvement and maintenance capital reserve is at $458,649.29. The unanticipated educational expense capital reserve is up to $275,484.91. Unanticipated utility cost expendable trust is at $186,702.72. And while the current balance in the facility use revolving fund is at $162,840.34, we still have yet to have the Memorial School ramps removed from that and the Chase Fieldhouse. So it's really at about $110,846. And I'll comment on those two projects later. Budget adjustments. There's one budget adjustment in there. I'm going to admit that I should have reported this out sooner, as well as two others, but as Dr. Ambrose will attest, we've been beyond swamped with the budget and other things lately, and I couldn't get the other two to you today. I will get those to you for December. The one budget adjustment in there actually came from the summer. Again, I should have reported out in August, but I didn't. And it's we wanted to move I moved $14,600 into the Twig education line, which is the middle school science curriculum, from what was actually my former salary line, because that line was budgeted for a larger amount than was utilized by an assistant principal. So it came out of the middle school admin line and was formerly mine. And the reason for this is last fall when we were budgeting, we thought we were going to be piloting a new science program, going a different direction. And for a variety of reasons that I won't get into right now, a new program wasn't piloted or selected, and we need a program. And I think all of your kids have experienced Twig Science, and it's a fine program, but I think Mr. Rogers is going to be piloting a new program this year, and she's set aside money for that, so this won't happen again next summer. But we had I'm not sure why, but we didn't have money in the budget for it this summer, so I figured I'd transfer from a middle school line. So looking for your blessing to have done that. It's already been done.
All right. Motion to approve.
Motion to have approved. Second.
Approved as previously conducted.
Thanks, guys.
And I'll get on top of these budget adjustments. We have a few coming up, especially in special education. So there's next December meeting, there'll probably be 4 to 6 adjustments to report out. As previously mentioned, project updates. Mr. Doyle's been on vacation this week. As of last week, the ramps were installed, but there was one small section left that was, I don't know if it was on back order or whatnot. I saw pictures of it. I thought I had them on my camera. I didn't. I was gonna link those in. They look fantastic. But if you're ever in Newton,
Have you seen it, Mike?
I have, my mom has been taking the kids to band in the morning,
Oh, yeah.
so I haven't been there.
Oh,
I gotta go look.
yeah, we should check them. I mean, the pictures I've seen look great, so.
What section isn't completed? The portable unit?
No,
or
I think
the-
I think there was just a stair section.
It's right in the middle. The kids are just falling.
No, I mean, which building? There's two buildings, right? We did ramps at both buildings? Like,
We did ramps at both buildings and was there a back section? No, just both. I think it had to do with a section of stairs, a second section. I'd have to, I don't know. Mr. Doyle's not here. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I'll check.
I think there was stairs coming off of the portable
Yeah,
Mhm.
in the front and the back,
yeah,
right? And then there was the ramp
the
and
ramp,
and the stairs at the band entrance.
yes.
I can just
haven't
drive
talked
by,
to
that's
Dan
fine.
since- Yeah, I haven't talked to Dan since last week and I should get more details, but, again, as soon as, I think they're gonna be installed any moment, and, then they'll invoice us and
Was there any, do we have any opportunity or did we discover any rot when we ripped off the current decking at the band room on that portable unit?
Dan and I are officers side by side. He tells me everything is going wrong. He didn't report anything, but I'll double check.
Yeah. Okay. I know some of the quotes we got, or some of the people that we spoke with to do the work was concerned about potential rot because of no flashing and stuff. So just want to make sure if there was an opportunity that we fixed it, sort of extend the life of that thing. If Dan didn't report it, I'm pretty confident. Yeah, I'm pretty confident there probably
He
wasn't any.
reports everything, which is great. It's not like, no criticism for sure. Yeah, I'll find out. Pump house at Chase Field, again, I'd love to get out of the office more, but it's just been so busy and it's done. I'd like to see that as well. Actually, I'd like to go inside of it because the old field house not field house, the old Chase Field pump house, not field house, the pump house at Chase Field was in terrible shape. It looked extremely dangerous trying to access that confined space. And I guess it's all been addressed and on budget. So one of these days I'm gonna get over there, maybe sometime soon, but that project is complete.
Where's that? The pump house? Which one is that?
You know where,
Corner of the field.
where the old
Furthest
track
from my
was?
house.
The track, I got the track. Yeah.
It's like in between the field house and the seminary.
Yeah.
If you're gonna walk with the back path to Swayze Gym.
So that project is complete. Any questions on that project?
No, I saw the guys working over there, it's like maybe a day and a half or so, and so I just reached out to Dan. I said, hey, I see him over there, how's it coming? He said, oh, the day they finished up, and he said, it looks great, great, so. Haven't seen it in person, but
No, I want to.
I saw it beforehand, so I'd kind of like to see it now.
Yep. So the water storage tank, a couple weeks back, I don't know, I forget the exact date, but it was drained on a weekend. It was inspected. That's where someone in scuba gear literally gets inside of it, inspects it. We haven't received a report yet. So we're not sure what they're gonna recommend. It's not, based on what Dan told me, it's not gonna require immediate attention. Maybe if we decide we wanna line it with like that rubber membrane, it can wait even until summer.
Mhm.
It's not like we're gonna have to like rush it and get Christmas break or February
Yeah,
break. So we'll have time to digest the report and get some quotes if we, there was evidence, that's 20 years old. There's evidence of some, I don't know if it was pitting or something, but nothing that required immediate attention.
Okay.
But,
Yeah, the report says that the depth is 505 feet.
Wait a second.
Is the depth front to back, or it can't be
No,
that
it can't
deep?
be.
It
It's only,
says
it's
the
only 15.
spa radius 200 feet. It says depth 505. Like, what? I didn't. It
Can that be
just-
the well? Is that the well?
No, maybe that is the well, yeah.
'Cause they did,
Yeah.
yeah, they talk about a bedrock well.
Okay.
The
yeah.
GPS,
Yeah.
so That's gallons per minute yield, 25.
Yeah, 500
Yeah.
feet's actually pretty,
It's
it's
deep.
a deep well. but
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
my house is like 3 miles from it. It's like a 300-foot, 250-foot well.
Yeah, that's mine. Okay.
That must be the well, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so I'm sure by December, we'll have the, report from the tank company.
I hope there's pictures.
Pictures?
Yeah,
Okay, in person.
I do too.
You want to see?
I do, yeah.
The inside, yeah, that'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
Well, then we had, the day before voting, the pump at the high school failed. And we thought we were going to have a pool company come and put in enough water to get through voting on Tuesday. So when we talk about the capital improvement money tonight, that's an example of the surprises that you get when the building's 20 years old.
Sure. What happened?
I
It's a
think,
480 amp breaker that blew.
Oh,
I figured it out, but still, in the middle of a budget meeting, we're like, voting's tomorrow and
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
building and there's no water,
Yeah.
right? You know?
Yeah.
It blew at a time when nobody was checking up on it.
Yeah.
So it got down to like 400 or 500 gallons of water on a school day.
Yeah, we had
So that's why it was a little nerve wracking. It wasn't like a full 15,000 gallon tank.
Yeah.
right.
So
Right,
it was a little, it was, yeah.
So how did we catch it? Like,
I'm sure that, our maintenance guys do regular inspections of things. They have a route, they go
Sure.
for roofs, they check vents, they check, discharge pipes and things.
yeah.
So they probably just happened to walk in and,
Oh, breaker's
What?
off. Yeah, interesting. Okay.
yeah, well, they didn't know the breaker was off.
Oh,
At one
They
point,
just
we
knew
thought the
there was no
pump
water
failed.
in it, and the pump was running.
Right.
Well, some aspect was running, something was running, but it was no water in the tank.
I know. Okay.
So they called effing, well and pump or pump and well or something, and they came and diagnosed the blown breaker and replaced it, and within a few hours, water was being pumped back in.
Okay. Now we know next time we check the breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing.
I mean, I don't know.
You never know what it is. you know,
Right,
like,
yeah.
You just don't have
And
water.
again, I
You got a
don't
big
know
system.
Yeah,
what, breakers can be anywhere. I mean,
yeah.
it could be something easy, it could have been something that was
Sure.
embedded in some pump.
Got it. Okay.
Not really sure, but. Okay, so new item that came up, this actually was brought up by a parent, who was not looking for work, mind you. But was, has an arborist background and was noting, trees around the Memorial School property and playground that were showing signs of, insect damage, rot, and just based on the size and the age of some of them, it just seemed like a safety issue. So, yeah, so the first, okay, so there's, again, Dan took some pictures before he took off for, his vacation. I mean, I have property with trees, and when they do get old, they are prone to blowing over in the wind. So I don't see, Dan didn't take pictures of any insect damage, and certainly we're happy to get more information. Where is the picture that I want? In terms of location, and again, I need to get out there with Dan to look at these, and I.
It looks like it's behind the portable.
Yeah, it's right along the, yeah.
The portable, right?
Yeah, it's just down from
Picture
the,
folder into November
Yeah.
2024.
it's from the portable down towards SCA, towards the Classical Academy.
I'm just clicking on this.
So,
Yeah, you click that. And then
Yeah, we have that picture in here.
just go to, hit November 2024. And it's on the outside of that folder. It's like out, you scroll down, it's probably the bottom. There.
so, I mean, again, Dan was out there with a couple of arborists. Again, the person who brought it to our attention didn't provide a quote also. But, Wilders Tree Service, who's a local company and done business with us, provided a quote. There's another one I did as well, but I'd have to go out and look at those 7 particular trees, which I'm, happy to do. Especially maybe next week when Dan gets back, just to actually get a sense of the condition of them. But certainly some are in proximity to, if they fell, they might hit a building, they might hit a portable, or I'm not sure if it's a portable in the corner of Memorial School, but, I'm not saying we need to act on it in the next month, but I certainly would take any feedback you have and I can bring it back in December. Cause I know, Wilder's, the 2 quotes we got, Wilder's was by far the cheapest. Both included a crane because of the location. Both companies recommended cranes. We get a 3rd quote too, but,
Here's an interesting idea. I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of the cost, we just had within the past couple of years, a gigantic pine tree removed. Like,
I know,
ridiculous.
yeah, they're huge.
Like I forget what they're called. They're not stalks, but like leaders, maybe they call them. Like these things, all of us together could hold hands and be around the trunk, right? And it was just ridiculous. But we left about 20 feet of it, or 15 feet, because like the price would have doubled if they took the rest of it, right?
Oh.
So there's an option too. I was thinking that if it's near the playground, it could be cool to lop them off at the top, leave some, so they don't have to, so somebody could come and do some of that like chainsaw carving art,
Yeah,
that might reduce the cost and add an interesting feature to the playground.
That's a good idea.
yeah, that'd be
We
fun.
can hire somebody like that. If it's.
I've been waiting to do that for 2 years. I cut a tree down and I was gonna like do something with it, but I just haven't had time.
So
Took this job.
you're not the guy to do
No.
that.
It'll be done in like 10 years.
Okay.
So that's an interesting idea, maybe.
So, move between, so I don't think we need to act like today. It's not like it's gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like to go and look at that too.
yeah, we'll go look at
We
it.
can just look at them, maybe get a 3rd quote.
I at least get them to requote with that idea.
Yeah, see if
Yeah,
the
see if
price
it's
changes, if they leave, if they leave the
And-
bottom 10, 15 feet.
And a 3rd wouldn't hurt, arborists can be wildly different in the way they quote and based on their scale and scope and crews and equipment and things like that. So it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Like
As
they're
you can
rent-
see these 2 quotes,
They're renting the crane versus they own
yeah.
the crane.
they're significantly different. So
Yeah, the quotes are very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So no, let's do that. And, I'm gonna, obviously, for multiple reasons, I want to get out to Memorial School, just between that, the ramps. So just want to put that on your radar.
Sure.
And I know Wilders, maybe it's because they're local and they're local community company, they're willing to get out there sooner than later, whereas the other company is like, oh, we can get out there in X number of months. I forget what it was, if it was 2 months, 3
Yeah.
months, 6 months, and it's just like.
Yep.
So, but yeah, if you're out there, maybe take a look at those trees.
Yeah.
I'll do the same with Dan next week.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the trees at Memorial?
I guess if you look at the picture, why could they not just drop them into the woods? Top them and drop them? Like, why
I'm gonna check
crane?
it out. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, most of your fee is Holloway.
See, I don't know where the property boundary is.
Yeah.
We have a neighbor next by who might be upset if a tree takes out.
Trees fall in the woods. That's
Yeah.
a natural occurrence and then they
Did anybody
decay.
hear?
Sometimes. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like if there's room, why not just drop them?
So the property line,
Is that accurate?
Micah just happens to have property lines randomly on his
it's
phone.
hunting
I'm-
season.
Yeah, you caught that too, right? Like,
Oh.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so these trees are here.
Yeah, there's plenty of
I got a
that.
guy who'll take them down. Okay, so.
That's you, isn't it?
They call a bunch of boys from up Millinocket,
No, that's where
but
it's at.
come down
This is
here.
where we are.
I've got plenty of thoughts.
But-
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
I actually have a former student from Exeter High School, I tell you, 15 years ago, he's my tree guy now. If I have a tree that I'm just not
Oh, you're the
comfortable
tree
taking down, he
They'll come
comes,
over.
he puts he puts like a tension rubber band
Yep,
on it.
yep.
And wedges by himself,
Those
wherever he wants it, put it down, I'm like,
That's what I got.
And they throw those
Climb
little
drops,
sacks
and I
up
did
with
work
the
with
strings
them.
to get the
Yeah.
rope to go to climb up.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I've seen it done. We had a big lightning strike in my backyard, but it was my neighbor's tree. And they had to bring in the crane. I was so happy it was on his yard because it destroyed the yard.
This is my property.
The crane was massive and the tree, I've got a video of the tree. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
What he was saying.
Yeah.
They cut it right down to the stump and he spends $15,000 on like 2 trees.
Yeah.
Lightning strike, you can see it split right down.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. And then one day the top just fell off, right? Like you hear this loud crash, and the top fell off the tree in the backyard. He's like, oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah, they play room.
That's what I'm thinking,
There
right?
seems to
So-
be,
Jeremiah, you wanna go down? I think going down and take a look at them is a good idea.
there
Yeah.
seems to
That's
be,
fine.
seems to be
It
some
looks
other-
like there's enough
I
room.
want to make sure we're also not,
I agree.
If you section them,
just being
just drop them.
frivolous.
Yeah, we need to figure out.
I
if
know,
they need
that,
to come
yeah,
down.
again, I need to get down
Yeah,
there too.
I agree.
I have
Good.
trees that I would
Good,
like to
yeah.
come down, and then I have trees that need to come
Oh.
down. right?
Yeah,
Wait a
yeah,
second,
me too.
that's-
I have
sorry,
3
hold
big
on,
ones that
that's
need,
not where it
don't need to, but I like them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
SCA. Yeah. This is, this is,
Yeah, there's plenty of room
but
there.
there's plenty of room here too.
Yeah, there's actually more room
Yeah,
there.
there's actually.
Okay. Yeah.
There's plenty of room. This is.
Up in Vermont, you just put the word out on the street and a bunch of dudes who need firewood would just show up
I'm
and
gonna
let
show
it
up and
rip.
take it, yeah.
That's where Matt grew up,
That's
right?
right.
Matt's hometown. That's what would happen.
I had 25
Vermont.
pines removed for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can ask that, so
So
that
stuff.
question that these guys just looked at, so.
Yeah.
If it's just dropping them in the woods, yeah,
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
yeah,
We'll-
no crane necessary.
We might be able to do it ourselves, let's get real.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just have this feeling that you guys want to. That's kind of creepy. I'm like, no.
It is
I-
the most dangerous thing.
it's so
in the world,
dangerous.
And I don't, especially for people who don't know what they're doing.
That's why I think tricky. I had this former student do it. I just
Can't do it.
I'll do.
Why don't you see if he wants to give you a quote?
You mind?
You might.
YouTube doesn't, sometimes it doesn't cut it on certain things.
I
It's one of those things I won't.
can see
Okay,
Mike's
so
got his
I'll,
thumb and.
Yeah, we'll put that on the list of things to observe at Memorial next week. And if you're all down there, take a look yourself and we'll report back the first week of December.
It's funny, this next item, I remember asking about this a couple meetings ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Dan didn't think we were gonna get it,
Yeah.
and then out of nowhere, he got it, which is fantastic. So a $30,000 grant for a PFAS filter on this building. Now, just so everybody knows, the public knows, the PFAS level in the water here has been measured at 2 parts per trillion, which is below what's acceptable by the EPA. So it's currently safe, but as there's more studies, they may change the limit. They may go down to 0 someday. So if we get a pre-filter system on this building that requires minimal maintenance, Dan thought it might just be, he said $1,500 every few years to rebed the filters. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's
cheap money
great.
for a pre-filter system. To remove an unknown chemical out of your
that's good.
water. So yeah, so good job, Dan.
Yep.
We should say thank you at the next meeting when he's here.
Yep.
I mean, he's probably watching from NASCAR, but
He's definitely watching
Oh,
right now. Dan, thank you.
yeah,
This is way more interesting than whatever.
Oh, yeah.
he's at NASCAR in Arizona. So,
Phoenix, last race, championship.
Phoenix
and you're
500.
here.
I'm sure he was forced to be here.
Sorry, Rick.
So yeah, so that's good. That's a good thing. And you also don't know how that plume, because I do have an environmental background too, like you don't know if that plume is gonna shift. Like we could have water with 4 to 6, 8, 10 parts per trillion in the future and might exceed the acceptable limit. So it's great we're getting the system. Yeah, so.
Cool.
Dr. Ambrose is going to be presenting the budget tonight. Just want to let the committee know that, you know, at least in my short time here, facilities, grounds, maintenance with our aging buildings and our needs has not been, you know, has not had adequate money in the budget.
Let's have no budget line.
Very low.
Very
Well, it's had some, very low, but it's all, some of the lines are almost tapped.
Yeah.
They're almost drained in the years I have over. So, you know, it took a lot of effort, but we've added, as Dr. Ambrose said, about 270,000 to the facilities and maintenance, actual lines for equipment and maintenance. So that'll help a lot. 270,000, it helps. It's not gonna help with any major, you know, issue if you had to replace a roof, but certainly with routine maintenance, you know, I'm now shocked at how I was oblivious, having worked in this building for 5 years, how often a compressor goes, there's a boiler issue, and it's like $3,000 for this and $8,000 for that and $15,000. It's like crazy how quickly the bills pile up in an aging facility. So
So 270,000,
It's
to
odd.
somebody who doesn't know anything about it, it seems like a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
So I think we need to lay out what those expenditures have been, like we talked about, 3 to 5 years, where we've gotten them from in the past and what that run rate is. So we justify that 270.
And perhaps give it context as a percentage of the whole budget.
We can do that.
And with the budget book,
Now that the budget book's done and the budget's
then
done, we can start
equals.
working on the,
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
tonight's the
actually,
big picture. We'll get into those details as we get through the
Yeah,
process.
I think it's clear that, I think we have to make it clear that this money has been spent in the past.
Yes.
We're just calling it out in a line item, but we need to make sure we show everybody if that's, we're not just creating a new amount of 270.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just to create another line item.
And it also improves transparency. Instead of saying at the end of the year, we need a new roof for $200,000 for the Swayze gym because it finally went. We're taking it out of the year end. We can say, we have money in the budget for these types of items.
Mhm.
And then when we expend that, then we're really looking at, we've had a more of an emergency. It's the one, I'll present tonight some of the items, but one thing that would help with this process is getting the capital improvement plan to the board and approved. Right, like going to that next level, because it's kind of always been a draft for the last year and a half. So it'd help us to have that be approved. So if you guys could help with that part, and certainly I think Matt will talk to each of you as he develops that narrative. If Rick, if you'd be willing to talk with him a little bit, I think now that we have the budget, this stage of the budget finished, the capacity to get that done will be there. It's kind of a combination, right, of the past and the future, right? Because the past might have been emergent, whereas the future is proactive and mindful. And because there wasn't a lot of money in these lines, the past, since I've been here, it's always been like an emergency. A good example is the fire panel at Bakey. I ran into Chief Graham the other day, and he said, I hope you're putting money in capital. That fire panel needs to be addressed, right? The fire chief, he's concerned about it. So that's something that we know about that's kind of pressing, and I'm going to have lunch with him and talk to him about that before we get far down the road in the budget to understand what that really means and what the level of urgency is. We just had a quick conversation when I dropped some donuts off at the fire station during the PD day. I think that the question is, I really would like to, if we could get some help with clarifying the needs of the portables. So I think Jeremiah said it, like we don't want to be alarmist and say that they're end of life, it's over. I mean, lots of things are quote end of life, but are working fine. So I'm not saying that I just want to know more about it. Like I'd like to get the underneath inspected by somebody that, I know Dan's looked at it, but it'd just be nice to get to really understand, like at what point do those portable buildings start to have issues? I don't really know, and the heating units at Memorial too. The
mini splits.
The mini
yeah,
splits, they're residential level mini splits. They're not designed for plant. So I think that I just need help to figure out what the lifespan of those are. And it may be that we don't know. It may be that, hey, normally they last 20 years, but they're working great. That's fine. But we just need to plan for when they go, because if in mid-January 3 of them go, we're going to have to replace them. Something to think about, right?
and this all ties into the capital improvement plan that we need to look at and the potential energy audit. We're going to go down that path too. So, yep.
Good example is we all thought that the pump failed at the high school, but it was a circuit breaker, right? But in the middle of the day before voting, you're like, whoa. So that stuff you can't help. It's going to happen no matter how new or old the building is. There's just always going to be emergent issues. Matt, one other thing before I forget. The boiler at this building, I just don't ever want to go through what I went through with Bakey when the boiler finally literally failed. This was before you were on the board. But it really just failed. And the backup and the main failed. And I think it would be helpful when we decide about the energy audit, if we don't do the energy audit, if we could just get a sense of like the life expectancy of certain parts of the boiler even. So we had like these pieces that we were saving sections, and when one would go down, we'd put a new one in. And I just want to know more about that as we move forward too, as a group. Like I think the boilers, you think about heat, hot water, and electricity, right?
So still see some note taking, so.
Yeah.
We'll rush
Oh, I'm good. I'm always.
Yeah, I mean, the boilers are what, 17 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's,
20.
20?
now, yeah. Bonds paid off.
Bonds
20
paid off.
Bonds paid off, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the capital improvement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heating and cooling.
Similarly, the IT budget, we bumped up by 90,000. Over last June, I don't remember the dollar amount now, but it was, may have been in excess of $200,000. Some IT purchases were made at the end of the school year with either surplus end of year funds, facility use revolving funds, or grant money, and the grant money is drying up. And we don't know if we're gonna have end of year surplus enough to make these purchases. So, you know, Dr. Ambrose and the whole admin team, we put more money into the proposed budget for this coming year for IT purchases. And,
how much?
90,000.
90,000.
And that was recommended by Gordon.
Yes.
Based upon 3-5 year spending history?
Yep, he talked about, that's in the slides tonight.
Right.
He talked about what the items are. We discussed whether or not we could move the budget to get 400,000 for facilities and 200,000 for technology. And we felt that when we ran the numbers with everything else that needed to be included, it was just too much money. We feel like this is a step in the right direction. Take another step next year to get to the what we feel would be a reasonable number. Gordon did say that he's done a lot of work and that the 90,000 to 100,000 would make a big difference, just so he could plan to purchase things like Chromebooks and laptops, Chromebooks for students and laptops for staff to keep that rotation going.
Okay.
I feel like next, let's move on to the capital improvement plan. Before we do though, any thoughts on previous items, or? No, we're gonna hear a lot about the budget tonight, and we're gonna be spending a lot of time on the budget the next month or so, so.
So before we move on to capital improvement, the energy audit is kind of directly tied to 90% of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
In the CIP.
Yeah. I guess I kind of wanted to jump to the
I know.
CIP and then maybe go back. It's just been too busy to engage in these conversations about the energy audit this last few weeks. I just couldn't get to it, so. But depending upon what we think we'd like in the CIP, the audit may address, to your point, yeah, the audit may address it. Right?
So what Matt and I talked about before this meeting is, I don't think it's on the agenda, but it's worth talking about. Our health insurance came in 48 hours ago at 15% increase, which is, in the 8 years I've been here, almost double the most it's ever been. So the last 48 hours, we had to kind of scramble and work on the budget even more to figure that out. And I told Matt that if he wants to work on if we don't want to wait until December to talk about the energy audit, we could have another meeting once he has a chance to get some of the information that you all wanted, even if it's just a short meeting, for the explicit purpose of talking about that item. But if you want to wait on the CIP plan until we do that, we're certainly fine with that. I think that the question is kind of back to Rick's point, like thinking about what we've spent in the past is important. However, with the aging facilities, I think it's also important to think about what we know we're going to need to spend in the future. So how do you guys want to attack this or move forward? Do you want to do the energy audit work and have another meeting and do that first and then work on the CIP, or do you want to go through the CIP?
No, sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's stuff on the CIP that has nothing to do with the energy audit, right?
Great,
Sure,
okay,
yeah.
The
yep,
track maintenance, signing, like,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I don't think we need the energy audit there's stuff on here that's pretty important.
thanks, great. We'd like to keep moving.
And we went through this entire thing the last meeting.
Oh,
Scrub
we
it,
didn't-
scrub the list.
Scrubbed it.
We got close to the end. We didn't quite get down to
What do we miss?
I think we missed tech. I think we missed.
Information technology?
I know we were pushing up against 550 last time, and I feel like we got as far as, I think we went down to Chase Field improvements. I think it's as far as we got.
So IT is next, and then administrative.
Okay, so do we want to finish that scrub or do we need to address some things? Or are there some things that you see at the top map that you're wanting to draw our attention to?
Well, I think you guys I think we already prioritized the top, right?
So A, B, C, D, I'm just reacquainting myself.
Right, yeah, A was a high priority, should be evaluated within a year. B was evaluate within 2 years. C was 2 to 3 years out. And then D was just be aware of, it's something that may need to be addressed, 3 to 5 years out. But you're right, Rick, a lot of these items are not covered in an energy audit, but, a few things are, but.
So I think what we had adopted was we were putting an asterisk next to anything that was implicated in the energy audit. So things like Windows, Air Exchange, like as you look through.
Looks like that.
Mhm.
Let's go through.
So phone systems, is that where we're at? Information
Yeah.
technology?
Yeah, so phone systems, IT, our director of IT, Gordon Parks, has identified that the central office, Bakey, and Memorial schools have phone systems that are incompatible and are end of life. Also are not compliant with 911 notifications. They can call out 911. It's just the new technology, I'd say. With a newer system, we can move to more modern connections, moving from copper lines to an internet-based system, which will reduce our line connection costs. Additionally, we'll become compliant with 911 notifications. And he had some comments on the right-hand margin,
Yeah,
which I asked him to include since he wasn't here tonight.
those are back from September
That
though.
was back from September, yeah.
He said he was evaluating the cost.
This says normal budget process and lease the phones, lease the equipment. And I guess, do we have an ROI on what those, reduction of line
Find out.
connection costs are?
His comment's good, but it's,
Yeah.
2 months.
And this is an old item, right? This has been on here for a couple of years now. If I remember, is that right?
I do remember it, yes.
So. Because we've talked about, we're 911 compliant, but I think the issue is from the classroom itself, right? Isn't that what it was?
I can't remember. Dan would know.
Yeah,
Dan and Gordon.
Dan.
I don't wanna misspeak. I just remember the concern.
So leave it in A.
I would leave it an A, yeah.
I'll get more information from Gordon.
The safety, I think it should be an A.
I agree. I think that's why we put it in A before.
And then he also mentioned the computer lab update. The district currently has 3 computer labs that contain between 20 and 25 desktop machines. The average age of these machines is 8, 9 years old. We anticipate replacing a computer lab per year for 3 years. During the 2023-24 school year, the school board authorized the district to update 1 of the computer labs. Additionally, administration notified the school board that it is evaluating the need for 3 labs. This is in limbo. According to Gordon, this is in limbo. We updated the business lab over the summer. The art lab was discontinued. Okay, so I assume that means we're down to 2 labs.
Or it could be that the way that they're structuring the art classes, they're not using the lab for photography. I need more information about that.
Is that 20 to 25 desktop machines total over the 3 labs or in each
I'm gonna
lab?
say per room because I've been in
Yeah.
the lab down there. Yeah.
Looks like Pro Lab.
And
I'd leave it an A. I just think we need clarification on what's left.
Right. Because it looks like 1's completed, but it also looks like 1 may have been removed. So now we maybe have 2, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We also need to look at the program of studies long-term, like, is that?
I was
lab
just gonna
be-
say, like, if we're gonna,
Like, we don't know what what the future holds. And if there's a program that might be obsolete in a year or 2 or 3, we're not gonna invest in a computer lab.
Well, that's the thing is I want to think about, and also like with the progression of technology, how many actual labs and what kind of power do you need in a desktop? The primary purpose now of a desktop device is the RAM and the processing speed is significantly more than like a laptop. So how many of those do we need for what we need them for? And you might know more than I do, you know?
Depending if it's a, I mean, are they PCs?
I think they happen, yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
But they're not Macs.
I don't think
Oh,
they're
yeah, I don't
Macs.
think so.
No.
No.
No, most people don't use Macs.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
you wear Nike. What it is-
Most people do.
What was I saying? Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends, but I would imagine for our purposes, yeah, it's easier to get more RAM and processing power in a desktop for cheaper. than
That
to
would be,
jam all that stuff on a laptop.
yeah, and with declining enrollments, I think that we should have a conversation about the future needs with Jen and Gordon together,
Yeah.
right? And
then
Christine
before-
DeRocher, like we should have a meeting with those 3 people. And then the staff that would be involved in teaching the courses and find out what they view as a need and
Yeah.
what their vision is.
That's the leave it today.
Yeah, it's for the kids, right?
Okay,
I have to step out to go to
Yeah,
the other meeting.
it's fine.
Is there anything else that you needed me to talk about or?
No.
Okay,
So,
all right, guys, thank you so much.
thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Can we just tap the space bar to shut it down? The owl?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it has a stop recording thing. You just click on it. It's easy.
IT's last item is a level D, so not a high priority, and I'm not sure I need to talk to Gordon about this one, but he mentions that we are in the initial phase of evaluating whether classroom microphone and speaker systems would be effective for our classrooms.
It sounds like if somebody's learning from home.
It's got the right letter.
Yeah, we'll just leave it
Yeah.
there. Yep. The next one, it's not an A from what I looked these this summer with Matt Angel and Dan Doyle. The first one under administrative is classroom furniture needs to be rotated as furniture wears out. If this is done in a proactive cycle, the cost becomes.
It's not done.
Oh, it's not done on a proactive cycle. It becomes unimaginable, but I was talking to Dan a couple weeks ago, and we have a surplus of classroom equipment now. And if we do have a declining enrollments, we're going to have more classroom furniture.
That's what the
So it's definitely not an A. It may not be a
CD.
I think Matt's old logic was keeping the aesthetics intact, right?
Right.
Room by room, and then if something breaks, you move from another, and then you have to. That's rather than purchase it all at once. I think that's what his thought. But I think that we move that down.
Yeah, we got a lot of unknowns in the next.
Asterisk.
Yeah.
Asterisk next to LED lights. Yep, keep that.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I asked Dan about this one. He said this is where the SLC is,
Yeah.
Seacoast Learning Collaborative. It is in bad shape. When they plow, they're plowing asphalt. I know that for projects, I'd have to look at their contract. I'd want to look at SCA's, and we split the cost of projects over $15,000. Again, I don't know. I think we need Dan Doyle to weigh in on this one.
I thought we requested, I remember talking about this 6 months ago. I thought he was requesting, quotes for it.
When we did
Or was that, we did the.
my what I recall is the contract, except for some of the terms, mirrors both.
Yeah, I felt like they
They're in the
look,
building.
yeah, that's my memory.
So, we had conversations about doing that parking lot over when we were putting in the new area for the SLC. And they did not want to do it at that time.
SLC didn't want to pay half, right? Probably.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do I say? I'm sorry. When we did SCA, right?
Right.
Acronym, sorry. SCA's in the back.
Yep.
SLC did not want to partake because it would have been a lot cheaper since they were already there.
Yeah. Well,
And they decided not to do it. So,
I mean, ultimately they need to be on board, so.
yes. And it's, I think I'll defer to Dan's opinion. I don't think it's a safety issue yet, but it's
No.
probably nearing one.
Right.
And, you know, as the, you know, they're the tenant, we're the landlord, I think we're gonna have to make a decision soon.
Right. Yeah, we want it to be collaborative, but at some point it can't be collaborative anymore. It needs to be this has to get
If
done.
it's a safety issue.
Okay, I'll get down on that. Actually, we're gonna do Memorial anyway. Nice site visit. Old middle school, boiler replacement. Actually, Dan said this could fail at any time.
Yep.
He's-
I don't disagree. I think we've all seen
Yeah,
it. So I don't know.
He has no idea. It's just like,
But this is an energy.
I think you put an asterisk next to it.
Yeah.
I do think that we should probably talk about, even if that's gonna take a long time, about maybe just replacing one, you know, for now, and instead of biting both at the same time, but they are, you know, they're in poor shape.
What were the rooftop units over there that we just replaced? Was that AC only?
Yeah, the boilers were in that back,
Yep,
down the hallway,
Yeah.
back right room,
yep, I remember those.
the exit back there.
But the roof units are AC only,
the ones
I
at
believe so.
SCA,
the
No.
ones that we, yeah, the
Yeah.
ones at SCA.
Yeah,
that were
those
just
those are
replaced.
both heating in.
So that's what I'm curious about. So,
But those are just for the portables over there, I think.
oh, okay,
The back half of the school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay,
The boilers, your heat hot water.
yep, okay.
So we'll, yeah, this is definitely an
Yeah.
Okay.
we changed the roof to C. Okay, what did I say here? I talked to you about this a few weeks ago. Old middle school roof. The roof is currently in good shape. The modulars attached to the building need repairs and will be addressed this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, well, Dan had me shoving a bunch of stuff. We have a lot of small roofs with 3-tap shingles that are just flying off. You know, we're gonna end up having some small damage structure. These are tiny projects. These are like $2,000
Yeah.
shed, maybe $1,500 re-shingling job on a shed. That's not part of this though. That's small potatoes. So, the fact that we moved this particular roofing concern to C leads me to believe that the work, because last year we climbed up on the roof for Memorial and they just refinished it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it the gym?
That was over the gym, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that used to be a higher priority before that project.
Mhm.
I think levels, if Dan says it's a C, but there are some small projects that need to be done, sheds, dugouts,
Mhm.
small structures that are gonna incur damage if we don't fix them, but it's gonna be short money.
Yeah,
And I'll
okay.
get those to you maybe next month.
Right.
And then we've already talked about the underground, oh wait, no, these are underground storage tanks.
No,
For
the
heating
doors,
oil.
Yeah.
Oh,
the doors is an
storage.
old, this was from an old walkthrough audit. Like it was some rust.
Repair or replace exterior
Yeah.
doors. Yeah, I mean, having walked around the old middle school, if you look at the metal door jambs.
On the bottoms.
They're rusting out.
Yeah.
They're, in some cases, you can almost poke your hand, so. But,
So I thought we had talked about, potential repair, right? You know, cleaning, welding, whatever, but if not, like, we're gonna have to replace them.
And this
But
is
I
at
think-
the SCA?
It's at SL.
it's probably both SLC and SCA,
Okay.
I thought it was,
or is it just SLC?
if I remember, it was when we did the SLC tour, they had pointed it out to us. Now, I don't remember what was on the
I bet
back half.
SCA repaired theirs. They did all that work.
Yeah.
So I bet
It
think
was
you-
definitely on SLC.
Yeah.
That side, I remember it. I think it
Yeah,
was
because they were
back-
getting some
back
rodents,
exit
they were
door.
getting some rodents in the building. Because you get, all it takes, a mouse just
Yeah.
needs a
Oh,
quarter
yeah.
of an inch.
Yeah.
And
It gets
they're
rid-
in.
Yeah, so we should, you might wanna, I think we should move that up. It's been on here for a little while. You might wanna put it as a, an A. It's,
Yeah,
potentially, you could say security issue too.
get on it. I think we'll change color. Yellow. I'll just change that. There it is. All right. And, yeah, so, yeah, I mean, the last item was underground storage tanks for oil, but they're level, D. Or we monitor them, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
it's an awareness item.
D.
yeah, it's a D.
Okay.
So, having not sat on this side of the table when a CIP was approved, I was more in the general audience with admin. I know this has to eventually go to the school board.
Yeah.
So what are our next steps?
I think Dan should review it with the changes we made, and then we should present it to the school board at the next meeting.
Okay.
For approval, unless you
Does
guys
that-
disagree.
What are
Needs
we,
updates from Gordon as well.
what are we,
Yeah.
what would we be approving?
We're taking out a draft and adopting it as our, capital improvement plan. And I would say working document, because, we're gonna have to make changes along the way, right?
Right.
Like, it's a live document.
Yeah.
Right? I think we just have to take it out of draft and
Yeah.
actually adopt it.
Yeah.
As a live document.
And the rest of the board may disagree with some of our assessments and
Yeah.
that way we kind of hash it out. And
Yeah, but that's a good call. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
maybe good
Is anybody
idea.
else besides Gordon and Dan?
those are the two that I saw, Gordon and Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Dan has a comprehensive understanding of our facilities and maintenance needs, and Gordon would have the covered tag, so yeah.
Yeah.
So, a question, though, here's an interesting question. The classroom, on the IT side, there's three things here. Phone systems, computer lab, and classroom, like, we know the microphone thing is weird, right?
Mhm.
Is the computer lab update belong here, or does it belong in a different, like, is it a capital improvement thing, or is it a technology thing? And like, phone systems are a technology thing that are integrated into the building and the facility.
Yeah, I think when
This is different.
we drafted this, we didn't have clear budget lines. There was no
Yeah.
IT line, right?
Right.
So,
But if there is gonna be one now.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
Well, they're tying it to the physical location of the lab.
But that's
too,
the
though.
thing, because it's in a room,
It's in a room.
so that might be why.
I
But-
think so. I see it could be either one.
It
I
could,
see your
it
point.
could go either way, so we
Yeah.
should think about whether it belongs here or in
Yeah.
the IT one.
And to be honest, I mean, I think Gordon's comment is right there when it comes to that classroom microphones. He doesn't think we need it anymore. I mean,
Yeah, that one,
if Gordon doesn't think we need it anymore, we should just take it off.
Yeah,
yeah.
You
I'll
can
meet
say,
with
hey,
both
this is
of
what you
them.
mean, Gordon, but
Yeah.
he's saying, I don't think we need
So you'd
this
like to see
anymore.
us on the agenda for the December meeting? And
Yeah.
Dan and I, maybe Gordon will all present.
Yeah.
Yep.
This, okay.
Yeah, to be able to answer questions for.
Yep, and we
Other
might
board
just take
members.
questions and feedback, and then it depends where it goes.
Sure, because we've been hashing this out for a month after month. The rest of the board is gonna be like, wait, why is this like this? And they're gonna have questions, so.
Okay, so we'll do that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, welcome. So in terms of, back to the energy audit.
Mhm.
Again, at the last meeting, I said we would reach out to Siemens, or at least find out next steps for an RFQ, but it's been beyond that with what we've been doing in the central office with CBA negotiations and budgets and all the other wacky stuff that's going on right now. So haven't really moved forward with anything in the last month. It's just has been time.
Good.
What are your feelings on this?
Same direction that we were moving before, and we get it that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
They continue to move in that direction.
Okay, I think I was supposed to get more, I should pull my notes, but more certainty on, or more direction, not direction, that's the wrong word. Well, a couple, a lot of late nights burning the midnight oil with the budget, which is fine, it's been fun, but more certainty on the cost of a audit. And is it, are we talking, 20,000, or are we talking 50, 60, 70,000? And then what does that mean? So,
I think the question was too, if if it's 50,000 was the number we kept using. So if it's $50,000 to do the audit, and then we then decide to move forward with the project, just clarifying that that 50,000 is rolled into the project.
Right. And I remember in that meeting, Tom also said, we don't know what the future holds, and do we want to focus on what's known in terms of what buildings we know we're moving forward with?
Right.
The low hanging fruit, the
Right.
lights, the envelope.
Yeah.
The boilers, other automated systems that make things more efficient versus going crazy and getting quotes on, not that I'm anti-solar or anything, but, solar, geothermal, like the whole kit and caboodle, like.
So I distinctly remember, Matt, and I think this is important. We talked through that, but we also talked through, if we ask them to come and just do low hanging fruit and they say, it's gonna cost you 35,000 for that audit. And then we say, what does it cost us for a full on audit? And they're like 50,000, right? That delta is worth the full audit.
Yep.
If they say it's 5,000 for low hanging fruit and 50,000, well, that 45K delta is different, right? So getting a sense as to, can we get that sense from them?
Okay, so we'll do, okay, got it.
Because it might, they're here, they've been doing this forever. It's probably not that big of a leap for them to do a full versus a partial. You know what I mean?
And again, I'm not gonna profess to be an expert, but I'm sure there are a lot more companies out there that will come in and do a low hanging fruit audit versus a full one, because they have the capacity to handle a project like that, so.
Right.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Do we miss anything on that one, Rick?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
I, sort of have to sit back for that one,
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
but that's what it was.
So, that's all I have tonight.
Great.
We've been, working tirelessly on the budget, which is good. It's been a rewarding process so far. I
Great.
like it.
Great.
That's not a word you typically hear, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
he genuinely means it.
No, actually,
Deep in his soul.
it's actually, it's like doing a construction project where you have some flexibility,
Yeah.
and you just, hey, I don't know if we wanna go that route, let's,
Mhm.
instead of building a greenhouse, why don't we, put in some hardwood floors?
Some aluminum stairs,
Mm. Yep. I heard it.
So-
aluminum reps.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you guys have anything else we can have a little bit of time before the budget meeting?
Yeah.
You?
Let's go to public comment, really quick.
It's gonna be quick.
Any public comment?
Oh, right.
There is no public comment. Okay. That being said, any alibis? Gentlemen?
Okay.
No? Okay, meeting adjourned.